This show's all about the incredible survival of dogs just dumped and left to fend for themselves. Fortunately, there are people out there willing to give these abandoned souls the loving homes they deserved in the first place. Coming up, we meet Zeus, a dog de Bordeaux, found dumped on a rubbish heap in a Welsh street.
To see a dog that severe, to have that many health issues, it was horrific, really.
And Snoopy the lurcher, dumped on a freezing cold night and left for dead.
I think Snoopy probably would have been dead within the next hour or two. It's probably the worst dog I've seen that was actually still alive.
And we tell the shocking story of 9 dogs dumped in the countryside in a terrible state.
For those dogs, just to be dumped on a roadside must have been the scariest thing for them.
It was in the summer of 2015 that Zeus came to the attention of Inspector Emma Smith.
Stories like Zeus's always stick with you. It's one that I'll always remember as one of the worst types of cruelty that I've seen.
Zeus, a dog de Bordeaux, had been quite literally dumped on a rubbish tip.
He'd been found lying amongst household rubbish, which contained dirty nappies, cans, tins, and maggot-infested, rotten food.
He was so poorly, he was rushed to a vet, and that's where Emma first laid eyes on him.
He had a chronic skin condition, which meant he had lost a good proportion of his fur, and his skin had open wounds on it, which were actually bleeding.
The poor lad also had major infections in his eyes and ears.
To see a dog that severe, to have that many health issues, it was horrific, really. I haven't seen anything to that scale since I've been in the job, which is 9 years.
Zeus needed several weeks of intensive treatment to recover and reach a healthy weight, but the person who dumped him like a piece of rubbish was never traced. "18 months on, and gentle giant Zeus is living in perfect harmony with singer Carla Mayney. And he's looking amazing.
When I first saw him, I thought, oh my God, he's large. And I was a little nervous of him. You know, is he going to eat me? But Zeus came over and he leaned on my leg. And I thought, oh, he's beautiful.
Zeus's tactile approach sealed the deal, and he came home with Carla and Mike.
I'm glad that we made the decision to have him because he's a beautiful friend.
Zeus took a while to settle in when he first arrived.
He cowered a lot. He was very nervous. He didn't really leave this room for about 3 weeks, apart from going, out for his walk. This was his safe zone.
But now they're starting to see the real Zeus.
He is a character, and he's grumpy. Oh, my goodness. He doesn't really particularly like mornings. Like before 9 o'clock, Zeus doesn't want to know. He's a king.
This king-size hound gets the right royal treatment.
Good boy.
Your chariot awaits, Your Majesty.
Are you ready to go for a walk? See Hudson and Bailey.
He's regularly chauffeured to his favourite park.
Come on, Zeus. Hey, good boy. Good boy. These are Zeus's friends. We have Honey, who's the wild Great Dane that's like a horse. And then we have Bailey, Doberman #1, and we have Hudson, Doberman #2.
His loyal subjects are fast on their feet. Keep up, Zeus. This majestic lad is happy to lumber along at his own pace.
When he first came in here at all, he stuck to the beaten track. Now he explores everywhere. And
loves being off the lead, just doing his own thing, walking around, sniffing, having a pee.
Sounds like me.
Come on, Zuzi. Come on, let's go. To be able to let him run free is lovely. And he's just happy in himself. He's Lord of the Manor.
Yes, he's definitely got a very dignified way about him. Slow-mo, this is the Baywatch shot. Life-saving.
He's just a big ball of love. a gentle giant who is loved by all.
The dog that was once dejected and dangerously ill is now living life to the full. He's got his new owners eating out of his, paw.
Susie's chicken snack.
Or should that be the other way round?
Oh, that's your favourite, isn't it? Yes.
It's a fairy tale ending for Zeus.
I know that he had a really bad start, but he was always destined to have a king's life.
After the break, the story of Ace, the staffy cross discovered dumped in a park. Plus the amazing survival story of Olive, the heavily matted Shih Tzu.
The fact someone could just leave her in that state, it really upset me.
Back in 2013, in Derby, Inspector Chris Shaw responded to a call from a concerned member of the public. And it had all the hallmarks of a case of abandonment.
I've just received a call at the moment for a dog that's been tied to a bench in a park. The caller is saying that this dog is really thin. You can see actually all the bones on it. I'm quite concerned when I hear things like that, so ideally I want to get there as soon as possible.
Even though he isn't at the scene yet, Chris knows that speed is of the essence.
It's a beautiful sunny day. You know, if this dog is in a bad state, probably got no water, nothing, you know, it's going to be stressing out. This heat, it's not going to be doing the dog any favours, so the sooner I can go and get it, the better.
Unfortunately, cases like this are something the RSPCA sees far too often.
You get some people, when they get to a stage with a dog that, you know, they no longer want it, it's ill, or it's, you know, they've not got the food to feed it or anything, rather than going down the professional, you know, routes of trying to rehome it themselves. Some callous people out there will actually do this, just go and tie it up and just chuck it away like it's a piece of rubbish.
The caller has stayed with the dog.
Yeah, it's going to have to be in there, isn't it?
Making it easier for Chris to find him.
When I could speak to the caller earlier, I could hear a dog going mad in the background.
The man who made the report is fellow dog owner Jonathan Maverill. Thankfully, Jonathan moved the dog out of the sun and gave him some much-needed water.
I was just walking the dog, and as I got down, he noticed something. I looked down, and there's a dog just sat under the bench. And at the time, it's overcast now, but the sun was really beaming down. So I asked a few people if they'd seen anybody dump it. And I walked it down here.
And you've given him some water, have you?
Yeah, I've got him.
Did he want a drink and things?
Yeah, he's drunk loads.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me get him off this.
The dog is a male staffy cross, and after checking his collar, Chris discovers that he's called Ace. But with no phone number or address, tracking his owner down could be a problem.
Just come back to the bench that the dog was tied to. Sometimes when people do this, they leave notes.
He's tied there.
He didn't have no shade, nothing, did he?
That's what I said.
Oh, well, we've got you now, mate. We'll look after you. Right, well, I'll get him back to my van, and now I'll get him down the kennels.
With no contact details, all Chris can do is take Ace to the kennels, where he'll check to see if he's been microchipped. The day's events have left Jonathan struggling to understand how Ace's owner could have left him.
I just think it's sick what someone's done to an animal, totally sick. Tied to a bench and leave it in this weather. I mean, look, the sun's coming out now. You don't leave no one in this weather. They wouldn't leave a child, would they?
It looks as though Ace has been well and truly dumped, but as Chris leaves the park, another dog walker thinks he knows who the owner is.
Have you ever seen that dog before?
Yeah. Who do you reckon it is, then?
Chris manages to get some useful information from him, but even if he is able to find Ace's owner, Chris isn't in a hurry to give him back.
I don't want to take the dog and they suddenly take it back, because chances are they probably would take it back off of me now and then give it back, take it back and do something else with it. So why it's with me, why it's safe, I'm keeping hold of it, and then I'll go and see what their excuse is. That guy walking on the park, he's seen this dog before. He's told me who he thinks owns it. Hopefully, if I go around and can prove that, that'll be really nice, you know, really nice to be able to get someone for doing such a horrible thing to a dog.
At the kennels, Ace is checked for a microchip. If he has one, then it will be a sure way of finding his owner.
Ideally, you know, what would be great is if every dog was microchipped, you know, and then if ever we find them straying, or, you know, then we can always find out who's done it to it, who they belong to. You know, we try and No, that's a no. Oh, sometimes you hear that ping and you just get all excited. But no chip, I'm afraid.
Having drawn a blank with the scanner, Ace will be staying here at the kennels until his case is resolved.
He's obviously a beautiful, lovely dog, so, you know, I'm hopeful that he'll get a nice new home and have a happy life. Hey, mate. No.
We'll catch up with Ace later. In January 2016, Inspector Steph Law was involved in a particularly upsetting case.
I got a phone call from Southridge Animal Centre saying that a dog had been brought into them by a member of public and that the dog was in a complete state.
Left to fend for herself, Olive, a little Shih Tzu, was found behind a pile of bricks on a building site in Hemel Hempstead.
When I saw Olive for the first time, I was really, really upset. Her coat was really badly matted and she had terrible infections in her eyes and her ears. She was obviously in a lot of pain. She was already on quite a high dose of morphine and antibiotics, and she was just totally unresponsive.
The vet needed to sedate Olive to examine her, and it was only when her fur was clipped that the full extent of her injuries was revealed.
After Olive was shaved, you could see how badly infected her skin was. She had massive swellings around her head and her neck. Her eyes were so badly swollen. She just looked a complete state. I haven't seen a dog look that bad and still be alive, to be honest. I just felt really, really sorry for her. And the fact someone could just leave her in that state, it really upset me.
Olive needed a course of antibiotics to treat the painful abscesses on her face and neck, as well as for a severe ear infection and nasty eye ulcers. While she recovered, a nurse from the veterinary clinic fostered her. Fast forward 4 months,
Come on.
and Olive's foster home has become her forever home. Vet nurse Emily Brown couldn't part with her and has given this 2-year-old cutie a new name, Betty.
She looks like a little old lady, so we just wanted to give her, no offence to any Bettys out there, but we just wanted to give her a little old lady name, so we called her Betty.
For Emily, it was love at first sight, despite Betty not looking her best.
She was just broken. She just seemed exhausted, the things she must have gone through. And I just knew she had to come home with me. She was really timid and quiet and really fragile. And then slowly over time, you could see her character coming back. She was just starting to trust us all more. But yeah, once her eyes were better, she was a whole new dog.
And it seems Emily has a habit of taking her work home with her.
I rescue a lot of animals. We've got 5 cats and 2 ferrets as well.
So Betty's got herself a ready-made family, including a new big brother, 15-year-old Shih Tzu cross, Benji.
Betty is obsessed with Benji. She absolutely loves Benji. If they're apart for a long time, Betty gets really upset. But they're never apart for too long, which is very sweet.
And Benji must be delighted to have a new little sister to play with.
At first, when they first start playing, Benji's really up for it. And he's, like, trying to tackle her back, but then he just tires out quicker, and then she wins every time.
Right. Round 2.
She's really happy now, because she's always got someone with her. Benji's snoring.
Well, the poor old chap must be exhausted after all that wrestling. But Betty's still full of life.
Good girl. She's really sassy and she's got such a cute personality. Yeah. She's just perfect. I don't know how anybody could have treated her the way they did. She's just incredible.
The person who dumped Betty has never been traced, but with a loving new home, Betty has landed on her feet. On her side. Earlier, Inspector Chris Shaw was called to a park in Derby where a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, Ace, had been tied to a park bench and abandoned.
Some callous people out there will actually do this, just go and tie it up and just chuck it away like it's a piece of rubbish.
The person who dumped Ace was never found, but the good news is he's been adopted. And today, Chris is going to visit him to do the final assessment on his new home and owners.
These kind of jobs are usually left to the volunteers, but Ace, he did catch my heartstrings, and he is a fantastic little dog. It'll be interesting to see if Ace remembers me, because it's been a little while now since I've seen him, so let's see how he reacts.
Ace made such a lasting impression on Chris that he's been looking forward to this moment for quite some time. But will Ace recognise him?
Can't wait for this. Hi there, you all right? Hi, my name's Chris. You all right? Oh.
Ace's rescuers are Adam and Harriet from Derby.
Yeah, oh, all right to come in and see
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, oh, brilliant, can't wait.
And from the sound of it...
Oh, mate, do you remember me, mate? Oh.
Chris needn't have worried, as Ace is definitely glad to see an old friend.
He's looking really good. Oh, good boy, good boy.
Chris's involvement with the dogs he rescues usually ends after they go to boarding kennels, so today is a first.
See, I never get to see this side of things. This is amazing, this is, you know. Me paw? Good boy, good boy. You do both, do you? Yeah. Oh. For me, he is a stunning little staffy, like just beautiful colour, you know, great temperament. If I hadn't got other dogs, he would have been coming home with me.
Chris may have missed out, but Ace has definitely landed on his paws with this new home. Adam and Harriet passed the assessment with flying colours.
Well, your garden's perfect, your house is perfect, so everything's absolutely sorted. And I can see, you know, he's obviously already really bonded with you. You're doing amazing with his training. For him to come in and have no problems and just settle like that, it's great.
He could not have asked for a better dog at all.
After a rough start in life, it's clear that Ace is now in good hands, and Chris is happy that Ace's owners will give him everything he needs.
Oh, well, I'm so proud of you guys, I really am, and I'm so grateful as well. Like, you know, without you, we wouldn't be able to have got him home, so thank you very much for taking Ace on. It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much. All right, see you, take care. That was absolutely brilliant to go and see Ace in his new home, all settled and doing really, really well. And I'm just so chuffed that he's happy and he's obviously really enjoying being in that house, and he loves the new owners. So just over the moon, completely ecstatic about it, really. It makes it all worthwhile, and it gives me a real, reason for doing this job. So just great.
Not all dog rescuers wear a uniform. It was by sheer chance that John, Hazel and Maureen stepped, or rather drove, into the breach and saved a dog's life.
We were taking Maureen home and went round a corner and saw this something in the road that other traffic was going round.
It was a bitterly cold winter's night in Kent when they found the dog.
It was basically coming round the corner, right on this bend, and we spotted it just sort of in this region here. It just looked like a large bundle of rags just off the side of the road, just laying there. And of course, I wasn't quite sure what it was, so I just pulled over. And
I said to him, "What is that?" And she just managed to lift her head up. Oh, he said, "It's a little dog."
She was just skin and bone, just skin and bone.
I said to Hazel, "This is not, this hasn't been hit by a car. It's obviously starving."
The poor dog needed help, so these good Samaritans sprung into action.
When we had her in the car, Maureen had got her hand on there, hadn't you? And
even through the blanket, I could feel how cold she was.
Very upsetting. It's a very emotional thing.
The emaciated young lurcher, called Snoopy, was close to death. They rushed her to a vet, who called Inspector Rosie Russon.
I definitely think they saved their life. I think Snoopy probably would have been dead within the next hour or two. She was so far gone. It's probably the worst dog I've seen that was actually still alive. To me, she actually looked like a skeleton of a dog. She was absolutely atrocious.
At just 10 kilos, Snoopy was heartbreakingly thin. She had no microchip and no one's come forward to claim her. For the past couple of weeks, she's been living at Leybourne Animal Centre, where she's being fed little and often. Supervisor Simon McArdle has been helping with her care.
Because she's of such a small weight, and so essentially the body's just been kind of eating away at her muscle mass. So it's important that she does get a bit of time to have to be off lead, to gradually and slowly build up the strength in her muscles again. Get on in, let's go.
Since Snoopy's been at the centre, she's gained just over 2 kilos, but there's still a way to go. Inspector Rosie Russon has been invited to dinner.
Ooh. So she's now on a mixture of dry food and the wet food as well. But we've still got on a diet that's very sensitive food, so it's going to be quite bland. Nothing that's going to potentially upset her stomach at all.
No. Well, she knows what this is, doesn't she?
Oh yeah, no, she's always very eager for feeding time. She knows what's coming.
What's that? What is it? Oh, is that your dinner? Is that your dinner? Okay then.
Hey, Snoopy. There you go, girl.
I say she's a little piglet, isn't she?
Yeah, no, yeah, she actually loves the food.
You say that again?
Good girl.
Don't eat your foot.
Good girl. A couple more weeks and I think she'll start to resemble a fairly normal-looking
I think we'll really
dog.
start to see a difference by then.
I mean, when I first picked up Snoopy, I really did think she wasn't going to survive, so it's brilliant to see her today looking as she does, and I'm really hopeful that she's going to carry on improving and that she's going to end up in a fabulous home at the end of it.
OK, who put that on her? Snoopy's a survivor and she deserves her happy ever after. Find out if she gets it after the break. Also coming up, we tell the shocking story of 9 dogs dumped on a cold country road. And we discover the fate of Ella, captured on CCTV as she was abandoned on a housing estate. Snoopy the lurcher was found lying by a road, so thin she was close to death. John and Hazel, who stopped their car to rescue her, haven't been able to forget her.
Hello. There. Where's that wagging tail today, then? Hey?
They've been visiting her at Leybourne Animal Centre nearly every day while she recovers, with the help of kennel supervisor Jane Pook.
The family have been down to see Snoopy lots now. They try and come as often as they can.
To be honest, we didn't know whether she was going to even survive. Poor thing. No. But it's so nice to see her.
They've even brought their grandchildren along. The couple haven't had pets for the past 9 years, since they lost their 2 beloved boxer dogs. But that's all about to change. They've made the big decision to take Snoopy home for good.
Yes, it will be, won't I? When she comes home.
They obviously love her. The fact that they bothered to rescue her and even stop in the first place, a lot of people wouldn't have done that.
And today is the day Snoopy gets her fairy tale ending.
Here she is! Here she is! Come on in. There's a good girl. There's a good girl, isn't you?
She's now reached a healthy weight and is ready to start a whole new life. Once the paperwork is signed, of course.
Brilliant. Right, that's all your pack done. That's everything done for Snoopy then. She's all yours now.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
We're going to call her Lily.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
That's a lovely name. Definitely suits her.
Yes.
There's just time for a goodbye photo to remember her by for Simon and the team who helped newly named Lily back to health.
Oh no, we're off.
It's hard to believe it's only been 7 weeks since John, Hazel and her sister Maureen stopped their car for Lily and saved her life. Once she's home, Lily seems keen to explore her new surroundings.
Good girl.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, shall I let you go?
Do you want to have a look round?
And you can go and look.
There. She's got quite a bit of garden out there to run in.
Come on. Good girl.
She said, no, I'm not coming in there.
It's a bit strange, I expect, isn't it, coming inside?
Yeah. She doesn't seem to be too bothered about anything.
No, she's not too pestered, is she?
Inside, Lily finds the most important room.
Ah. I say, miss, down. Good girl. Oh, look at that. John?
Looks as if it's starting to feel like home.
You know, with just a little bit of patience with them, and it's surprising how it does pay off.
Yes, a good girl, aren't you? You are.
But before she gets too comfy, she needs to finish the grand tour.
What's in here?
Is that another dog?
What's that? That's Henry. He don't do anything but sleep. Oh, she's found the other bed.
Am I under the stairs like Harry Potter?
It'd be interesting to see, like, when her character really comes out, just see what she's really like. I mean, she's very friendly, she's very gentle. But I expect there's a bit of mischief in there somewhere. Yeah, that's a nice bed, isn't it? Really nice to see her here at last. We've waited quite a few weeks and she was so poorly, we didn't know whether we would get to this day, really. It was fortunate all round for her and for us that we came along. Hopefully, she'll settle down and become one of the family. Won't you?
Looks like she's almost there already. Good on you, Lily. In 2017, Justin Stubbs was following up on Ella, a brindle lurcher he recently rescued.
We had a call fairly early in the morning a couple of weeks ago about a dog that had been left tied up to a fence on a housing estate in Peterborough.
And what the person who dumped Ella didn't realise is that he was caught doing so on CCTV.
When we got there to find Ella was in such poor condition, with about 60–70% fur loss, terrified, curled up in the cold, so scared of everything. She wouldn't walk, I had to carry her to the van. Heartbreaking, to be honest.
The person who dumped Ella hasn't been found, but she's being cared for at Blockfen Animal Centre near Peterborough, and Justin has come to check in on her. Ella is being looked after by vet Becky Elbow.
Oh my God. Morning.
Good morning.
Ella. She's still got the same nerves. She's obviously been through a real ordeal.
She is really nervous. So what we've got to do is build up her confidence. We just take it really steadily with her and make her realise that actually we're nice people. And as you can see, she's already relaxing and she's now beginning to think that taking a treat's okay. Come on, Ella.
But it's not just Ella's confidence that Becky's been working on.
As you can see, we've still got these small little lumps here. We've still got some reddening and raising of her skin, so we've got a long way to go.
Becky wants to find out what's causing Ella's skin problems. The first thing she wants to test for is sarcoptic mange, a parasite which burrows through the skin, causing intense itching and irritation.
I'm going to take a little blood sample from her jugular. Well done. Well done, Ella. She's a good girl, well done. This now goes off to the lab. They will have a look for antibodies to the sarcoptes.
Becky also wants to check for ringworm, a fungal infection that can also cause fur loss. But nervous Ella isn't keen. I'm not surprised. The room's pretty dark.
This is a special ultraviolet light. And what we're looking for is apple green fluorescence of the hair shafts. So at the moment, we can't see anything. Everything's looking good. The tests are all done. We've just got to wait for those blood samples to come back. We might have to use a special mite wash on her, but hopefully in about a month's time, Ella should be up for rehoming.
We pick up the animals at their worst, usually, and to be able to give them to people like this who can make them so much better in such a short amount of time, it makes us remember why we do the job, because so often you just go day in, day out, just seeing all the worst of things. It's really good for morale.
We'll catch up with Ella the lurcher later. On a cold evening in January 2015, down a quiet road in Winchester, people were confronted with an extraordinary sight. 9 poodle crosses were found dumped, filthy and with hair so long and matted they could hardly see or walk. RSPCA Inspector Jan Edwards was on duty that night.
What stands out is just the shocking way that these dogs have been found. Someone's actually driven to the location and they have actually physically put those dogs out and abandoned them. There was ingrained sawdust, mud and just dirt and soil. The smell of urine was quite overwhelming. For those dogs just to be dumped on a roadside must have been the scariest thing for them.
No local vets had the capacity to deal with so many dogs in such a bad way, so they had to be taken to 4 separate surgeries. Vets and nurses worked for up to 3 hours on each animal, carefully removing the fur to reveal the dog underneath. Without their filthy fur, the transformation was incredible. Just 48 hours after the rescue, Jan has come to visit 2 of the dogs, newly named Wills and Kate by staff, and being looked after by vet David Langrish and nurse Sarah Moss.
So how is Wills doing today?
With his skin.
Okay.
And that's still obviously quite sore.
Yeah, I can see
So
just how pink that is. Yeah,
we're trying to bathe him. I mean, obviously around his tail there might have been a bit of urine scalding.
It was just so severe nappy rash.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Because of the
just
wet.
so thick.
Yeah, I think the worst case that we've seen here. I mean,
Oh, really? Is that the case?
Yeah.
Kate is also being kept in because the sheer weight of the fur made her hind legs too weak to walk on.
She's not able to walk outside just yet. Right. We're doing some physio with her just to make sure that her legs are able to move around and stop her from getting pins and needles.
Do we have any idea about when she might be ready to travel? I mean, she's clearly not able to be travelled at the moment.
No, she's, I think, probably a couple of days, probably, at the moment.
Okay.
Depending on the results of the bloods.
Okay, because she needs to be a mobile dog. She's a mobile dog. You need to be a dog, don't you? You need to be able to walk.
The removed fur has been kept as evidence.
This are the clippings that have come off Wills, RB5. I mean, they're just heavy to carry myself. So we're on 0. Let's see how much they weigh. Gosh. So yeah, that's 9.25 kilos. Wowza.
Imagine carrying around 9 bags of sugar on your back, especially if you're Paul Wills' size. And it's even worse for Kate.
All of that's come off. Wow, that's 11.25. Gosh.
Both dogs were carrying 1/3 of their own body weight in matted fur. Must have been terrible for them.
Thank you very much again.
Okay, no problem.
Kate and Wills recovered and were both rehomed. And Dave, another of the poodle crosses to be brought in, is a few miles away at Mount Noddy Animal Centre, ready to go to his forever home too.
When Dave came in, very, very nervous, very scared, couldn't put him on a lead at all, needed a lot of space, so we were just patient with him, let him come to us. He's had to learn to trust humans again, you know, which I'm hoping, well, you can see he has.
Today's a very special day for Dave because he begins a new life with dog rescuer Jeanette McDowell.
I've been coming here for the last 2 weeks, walking him every day, getting to know him, getting him socialised because he's been completely wild, almost feral. I know there's a lovely, lovely poodle under there. So here I am today to take him home.
Couldn't ask for a nicer person for him to go to, so really, really happy for him.
Hello, Dave. Hello, boy. Oh, you're rather gorgeous, aren't you?
Okay, if you just check everything is correct.
I know
and
you are.
just
You're a little devil, aren't you?
With all the paperwork signed,
There we go, boy.
Dave's off to his new home.
Wow, no trouble getting out then. Come on in. Come in. Wow, there, Dave.
But Dave won't have the whole house to himself.
What he'll make of the cat is another story.
What the? And it seems Dave was the perfect name.
I've got a cat called Chaz, and this one's Dave. So I've got Chaz and Dave living at my house.
Well, hopefully they'll soon learn to make sweet music together, or at least have a cockney knees up. And for Jeanette, Dave will provide some very welcome companionship.
My previous dog died 7 years ago when my husband died, so it's been quite lonely not having a dog. It'd be lovely, isn't it?
Having been found in such awful conditions, it's going to take time for Dave to settle in. But it's great to see he's got what every dog deserves: a secure, happy home and a loving owner. After the break, we'll catch up with Ella, the abandoned lurcher, in her new forever home. Earlier, we met Ella, a nervous lurcher who'd been left tied to a railing.
She's obviously been through a real ordeal.
Not only was she lacking confidence, but she had real skin issues too.
We've still got some reddening and raising of her skin, so we've got a long way to go.
For the last month, Ella's been living at Block Fen Animal Centre near Peterborough, and kennel supervisor Tiff Saunders was worried she'd never trust a human again.
We see a lot of neglected animals come through our doors. Mentally, she is one of the worst we've probably seen. There's a good girl. When she first came into our care, she wouldn't even take a treat from us. You want to lick it? So we have been just bringing her out into the paddock. If she wants to get away from us, she can. She's got all this space to walk away. But also just giving her treats and just showing her that people are nice.
We'll never know why Ella was so nervous, but with Tiff's care and attention, she's making real progress.
I see that tail wag then. It was such a relief when we got that first tail wag, because it means that she will love somebody, and with that, we know that we'll be able to find a new family, because we know that she will bond. Different doggy now, eh?
As well as working on her confidence, Tiff has also been treating her nasty skin condition.
We did some blood tests. They were positive for sarcoptic mange. It's really itchy, which explains why she had itched all her fur away.
Ella's owner was never found, but the cost and effort of treating her mange could explain why they chose to give up on her.
She is now on some medicated baths, and she is responding really well to them.
Wow, you can really see the difference. First, Ella is washed with a medicated shampoo that helps keep bacteria and other nasties at bay.
It is probably one of the things she doesn't enjoy the most, to be honest. She's kind of accepted them now, and I think she knows that we are helping her.
This is followed by her prescribed mange treatment.
She doesn't like this. It smells very strange. She tolerates it, don't you? Good girl. She's now got full fur regrowth. She's not sore anymore, she's not itchy anymore. So really happy with the progress her skin has made. Well done.
What's really great is Ella's mange is no longer contagious, so she can mix with other dogs. And it's when Ella's with her new bestie, Herbert, that her true personality shines through.
He came from a similar situation, so he was found as a stray, and they play so well together. When she's with another dog, she's just so confident and happy and relaxed. It's lovely to see. Her tail's wagging, she's play bowing, and she's also just running around sniffing, doing normal doggy things, which is why it's so important that her new family do have an existing confident dog that she can learn from.
And happily, Best in Show can reveal that's exactly how things turned out for Ella. Now named Padme, for the past year, she's been living in her new home with big sister Leia and owner Kirk Braun.
I fell in love with Padme straight away. When I was introduced, she came over and gave me a kiss, and I knew then it was meant to be.
Padme is settling into life with new sister Leia.
Leia was also a rescue dog. I've had Leia about 10 years from the same place I got Padme from. Thought it was time to introduce a new friend. And they get on really, really well. They're like the best of friends. As you probably worked out, I'm a Star Wars fan. Leia is obviously Princess Leia. And then when I saw Padme, I knew she needed to be called Padme. And I think it works quite well because they're both princesses, so.
But at first, Padme was very wary and anxious in her new home.
Leia, sit. When I first got Padme, she also couldn't trust anyone. Even if I made any sudden movements, like to put a light switch on, she would cower. Come, Padme. Lee. So it's took a little bit of building up that trust to know that she'll never get hurt while she's with myself. If other people come into the house, she's OK as long as I'm there. So she's still quite nervy of people, but when I'm there, she seems to have a lot of confidence. I walk them twice a day on the streets, probably 1.5 miles in the morning, 1.5 miles at night, but I try to give them a good field walk 3 times a week. Lurchers are built to be running. Bringing Padme here, she can really get to full speed, and to see the girls running and having a great time, it really does bring happiness and a smile to my face. And it's a pleasure, not a chore, to be honest, to be walking them. All the cost and all the effort is nothing compared to the love they give back to me. They really are my best friends, really, and I know it sounds a bit of a cliche, but my life's complete with Leia and Padme.